What if this person draining your energy isn't loud, aggressive, or obviously toxic? What if they're calm, charming, even likable? And what if the real danger is that you trust them? You've met someone like this before. Someone who says all the right things. Someone who seems emotionally intelligent. Someone who makes you feel seen at first. But then something shifts. You start doubting yourself. Your confidence drops. You over-explain simple things. You feel like you're always slightly off balance, like you're playing a game where the rules keep changing. Here's the unsettling part. It's not random. It's not your imagination. It's a pattern, a hidden behavioral glitch that's costing you time, peace, and sometimes even your sense of identity. And the worst part? These people don't look dangerous. They look normal. The impossible story. In the 1970s, a psychologist named David Rosenhan ran a now-famous experiment. He sent perfectly sane people into psychiatric hospitals. No mental illness, no instability, no symptoms, except one small lie. Each participant claimed they heard a voice saying a single word, empty. That was enough. Every single one of them was admitted. But here's where it becomes deeply unsettling. Once inside, they stopped lying. They behaved completely normally. They spoke clearly. They followed routines. They showed no signs of distress or delusion. They were, by every observable standard, sane. And yet, no one believed them. Doctors didn't question their diagnosis. Nurses didn't reconsider their assumptions. Every action was filtered through a pre-written story. If they took notes, it was labeled compulsive behavior. If they waited quietly, it was called emotional withdrawal. If they asked to leave, it became lack of insight. Reality didn't matter anymore. Perception did. And perception had already decided who they were. Some of these participants were kept inside for weeks, not because they were sick, but because they couldn't prove they were healthy. Now pause. Let that sink in. You can act normal, be normal, and still be misunderstood if the system around you refuses to update its judgment. Now flip the situation. What if someone could do the opposite? What if a person with deeply manipulative, emotionally detached traits could move through life undetected, not because they hide poorly, but because they hide perfectly? They don't break the rules in obvious ways. They don't raise alarms. They study people. They observe emotional reactions. They learn what empathy looks like, and then they perform it. Not feel it, perform it. They say the right things at the right time. They show concern when it benefits them. They mirror your values, your tone, your beliefs, until you feel an unnatural sense of connection. And because everything looks right on the surface, no one questions it. Instead, something strange happens. You begin to feel off. You start second-guessing your reactions, your interpretations, your instincts. You notice small inconsistencies, but they're never strong enough to prove anything. So you dismiss them. You tell yourself you're overthinking, too sensitive, too emotional. And slowly, without realizing it, the narrative flips. They remain unquestioned. You become uncertain. That's the impossible part. The person creating the distortion isn't labeled. You are. And just like in the experiment, once the narrative sets in, everything you do starts to feel like confirmation that something is wrong with you, not them. The mechanical reveal. Now we name it. The hidden sociopath into clinical label. It's a behavioral pattern rooted in what psychology calls the Dark Triad. 3 traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy. But here's where most people misunderstand it. They imagine extremes. Arrogant leaders, ruthless criminals, cold, emotionless villains. That's the obvious version, the visible one, the version your brain is trained to detect. But the real danger lives in the subtle version, the one that blends in. Narcissism in this form doesn't always look like loud ego. It can appear as quiet superiority, a calm belief that they deserve more, know better, and should have control without ever saying it directly. Machiavellianism becomes precision, strategy, emotional detachment from outcomes. They don't react impulsively, they calculate. Every word, every gesture, every silence is used intentionally. In psychopathy, diacracy at this level isn't violence, it's absence. Absence of guilt, absence of emotional friction, absence of internal resistance when crossing boundaries. Now here's the mechanism that makes all of this work. Your brain is built for efficiency, not accuracy. It uses shortcuts, what psychologists call heuristics, to quickly decide who is safe and who is not. A warm smile signals trust. Consistent eye contact signals honesty. Shared values signal connection. These shortcuts are necessary. Without them, every social interaction would feel exhausting. But hidden sociopaths exploit these shortcuts. They reverse engineer them. Think of your mind like a highly advanced security system. It's excellent at detecting obvious threats, anger, aggression, unpredictability, but it has a blind spot. It assumes that anything that looks safe is safe. So when someone perfectly imitates the signals of trust, your system lowers its guard, not because you're naive, but because your brain is functioning exactly as it was designed to. And that's where control begins. Because while you're responding authentically, they're responding strategically. They're not asking, how do I connect? They're asking, how do I influence? They observe your reactions closely. They notice what makes you open up, what makes you hesitate, what makes you doubt. And then they adjust, subtly, continuously, until the dynamic shifts. And here's the most dangerous part. There's no clear moment where something goes wrong. No obvious betrayal, no dramatic conflict, just a slow, almost invisible drift where your confidence decreases, your clarity fades, and your perception of reality becomes slightly unstable. So your brain searches for an explanation. And because the external signals still look normal, turns inward, you start analyzing yourself, questioning your judgment, correcting your behavior, trying to fix something that was never broken. That's the trap. They don't need to overpower you. They don't need to expose themselves. They just need to stay consistent long enough for your own mind to do the rest. The daily damage. This is where it stops being theory, because this pattern doesn't show up in dramatic, obvious ways. It shows up quietly in your daily life until the damage is already done. First, your relationships. You start noticing a strange imbalance. You communicate clearly. You try to resolve things calmly, but somehow the conversation always shifts. Your concerns get minimized. Your emotions get reframed. And before you realize it, you're the one apologizing, not because you were wrong, but because continuing feels heavier than surrendering. That's not a misunderstanding. That's manipulation through emotional redirection. They don't argue harder, they adjust the frame, just enough to make you question your own reality. Second, your career. There's always that one person. They don't necessarily work the hardest, they're not always the most skilled, but they move ahead faster than everyone else. Why? Because while others focus on performance, they focus on perception. They build the right alliances, say the right things in the right rooms, take credit subtly without triggering resistance. And when something goes wrong, they shift responsibility so smoothly, it barely feels intentional. That's Machiavellianism operating at full precision. It's not about doing more. It's about controlling what others believe. And third, your identity. This is where the deepest damage happens. You begin to adjust. Small changes at first. You hold back opinions, you soften your tone, you second-guess your instincts. Not because you want to, but because something in your environment feels unpredictable. So your mind tries to adapt, to stabilize, to avoid friction. And slowly, that adapted version of you becomes permanent. You stop trusting your reactions. You hesitate before speaking. You replay conversations in your head, wondering where you went wrong. But here's the truth you don't immediately see. You didn't change because you were wrong. You changed because confusion was introduced into your system. And confusion is powerful. Because once you're uncertain, you become easier to guide, easier to influence, easier to control. That's the real damage, not what they take from you directly, but what you start giving away without realizing it. The strategic escape. So how do you protect yourself from something designed to stay hidden? You don't fight it directly, you change the game. Here's the framework. Stop trying to read their intentions. Start tracking patterns. Intentions can be faked, patterns can't. A hidden sociopath can simulate empathy once, twice, maybe 10 times. But over time, inconsistencies appear. Moments where their behavior doesn't match their words. Where their charm drops, just slightly. Where their reactions feel off. Your job isn't to confront, it's to observe, quietly, consistently. And when the pattern becomes clear, you don't argue, you don't explain, you withdraw access, emotionally, mentally, sometimes physically, because the only thing they truly rely on is your engagement. Remember the experiment. The patients weren't trapped because they were broken. They were trapped because no one questioned the system interpreting them. Don't make the same mistake. When something feels off, trust that signal. Not immediately, not blindly, but seriously enough to investigate. Because the most dangerous people in your life are the ones you never think to question.